Yes, yes, you are. You are tuned in to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We are rocking and rolling with our 50,000 watt blowtorch of conservative talk radio right here in Mississippi. Look, if you want to be part of the program today, it's easy. 601 879 0002. The text line is open 601 879 5060. We are at the WYAB studios right here in Flowood, Mississippi at the Cotton Exchange. It's good to be here. And I know we're blasting at 50,000 watts, but if you can't pick up the signal, just want to let you know we are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on YouTube. We are streaming on X, and we are streaming at WYAB.com. Please kindly go to those channels and subscribe to them, like the video, get it out there. It would be greatly appreciated. You can follow me on X at Andrew Gosser. And our mission here today is to equip the saints. And there's going to be a lot of influence from the 1 hour show that Clay and I did together. But Clay brought up an interesting point with his biblical background and how he's seeing things, and I think it's great. He's out there doing his thing and bringing attention to stuff, and the way that Clay Edwards goes out and conducts the business is not the way that Andrew Gosser goes out and conducts the business. Many will say that Clay is much more impacted, has much more of an impact, and is more effective. And I would say that definitely he gets out there and he gets seen. But see, that's what makes WYAB so great, because Clay, Kim, Chip, they are heavy hitters. Lindsay, Sean, heavy hitters. I'm a heavy hitter too. I just go about it a little bit different way. I know Kim has ran for office. I don't know if anybody else has run for office, but I think that impacts me a little bit. I genuinely feel like my life experiences as a politician have clearly changed my life. And the truth of the matter is if I'm going to go ahead and do this thing that's called politics, I want to do it in a way that's biblical in nature, to the point to where people who are tuning into this radio show for the first time are like, wow, this guy is dropping conservative truth bombs. Oh my, conservative truth bombs. But you know, I'm not used to the Bible thing. What's going on with that? Already getting corrections. I said Flowood. I got to go to Flowood after the show today. So that was on my mind. We are in Flora, Mississippi. Cotton Exchange Plaza, right off of 49. Yep. Thanks, Eric, for the corrections. Everybody's always checking in. That just goes to show you that we on this program listen to the chat. We listen to the text. I do try to get to them all. But this is what I've got on the docket for today. I've got Clay and our discussion about him responding to Proverbs 6. Yesterday, I had to go to the doctor's office after the car accident for follow-up because of my back and the discs and everything, multiple follow-ups. And my doctor is a Liverpool fan. To try to make this somewhat comparable, Liverpool and Arsenal do not like each other. It's kind of like Alabama and LSU not liking each. Well, that's not really fair because LSU not a real football team. Alabama Auburn. Oh my gosh, did I really just go there? I did a little bit of sports stuff, but we'll talk about the Liverpool bet I made with my doctor, and great guy. We got to talk about Zorhan Mandami today, because he is following the Muslim Caliphate playbook to the T. And by the way, whether you are Christian or not, if you are not following what the heck's going on with the Caliphate worldwide, you need to. United States might be one of the last countries to actually fall to it, but it's everywhere. Texas in the last 2 years has opened up 24 mosques, and that's just in and around Dallas, Fort Worth. So we got to talk about Zorhan Mandami, the judicial plan 2.0. So we've all experienced. I mean, we don't even talk about it so much anymore because we know the plan. The lower court judges say something Trump's doing is illegal. It gets appealed. It gets denied. It goes to the Supreme Court, gets overturned, go back. Well, they're using a new strategy that I've sort of looked at and said, you know what, these things make sense. We should look at that and see if we can't glean some stuff from the bubble. Generation Z and Generation Alpha phone pick policy, taking pictures. Generation Z and Generation A have learned from the mistakes from the millennials and the Xers who decided to put all their business out on OnlyFans. And they don't want nothing to do with that, which is great. But we have to start, I believe, with the AL or the AI bubble. Because I think that with the AI bubble, you are going to see a lot of companies struggling because they are implementing all of these AI solutions into businesses. And these are just not like international businesses. These are not nationwide businesses. These are businesses like your local favorite diner. Like you think about like your local veterinarian, the Kroger, all these small businesses, your church is incorporating all of these new AI technologies, which are really awesome because they are helpers, but we're going to become dependent on them so quickly. And this is coming from the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, Faisal Islam. That's an English name right there. Every company would be affected if the AI bubble were to burst, the head of Google's parent company, Alpha, or parent firm Alphabet, has told the BBC. When we first talked about Google and Chrome, I brought up Alphabet, and I'll never forget the 4 or 5 messages I got from people basically saying, Alphabet, that's not Google. And we've discovered this. And now Alphabet's going around. They're the biggest data company out there. They're the biggest internet company out there. They're everywhere. If you go through and look at all from YouTube to Chrome to the search engine, they have it all on lockdown. And Google sucks for searching things out now. Now all you get are these AI previews, and I'll just use an example. I was looking up the number for the UMC clinic where I go, and it would not tell me the phone number. It gave me the general phone number, but I literally had to drill down 2 pages to get the specific clinic phone number that I wanted, even using the ampersand sign and using what I consider, moderate level searching tools. I'm not a schlep when it comes to this. I understand what the heck I'm looking for, and I know how to go ahead and get that out. But Google is just, and Alphabet are just taking over everything. Speaking exclusively to the BBC News, Sundar Pichai said while the growth of artificial intelligence investment has been an extraordinary moment, there was some irrationality in the current AI boom. It comes as fears that Silicon Valley and beyond of a bubble. What it says, it comes as amid fears in Silicon Valley and beyond of a bubble that is the value of AI tech companies has soared in recent months, and companies spend big on the burgeoning industry. I guess I need to read more English books because the way they put stuff together sometimes just makes me wonder, hey, am I reading this right, or are they just not getting done what needs to get done? AI will have impacts on our warships, on our war fighters, on our airplanes. If you think about it right now, AI has really put into a corner some of the military industrial complex. They really have. Before, back in the day, you would have Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop Grumman bidding for all these different types of aircraft projects. Now you've got companies like Anduril building UAVs that can pull incredible Gs, that can dogfight, that can do things that a manned fighter couldn't pull. As an example, you can look at the new F-47 coming online. It is going to be able to pull more Gs than the human. So if you could get an F-47 to be a drone without a human in it, all of a sudden you have completely expanded the envelope for which that aircraft can perform. And I'm not going to use any common terms or anything like that. I don't want to get into it. All I'm going to say is you're going to have a much more lethal aircraft out there, platform out there that can go do some stuff. Now imagine you have a company who can build a smaller version of the F-47, maybe not quite as many Gs, but can go into places that an F-47, or you wouldn't want to send an F-35 or F-22 or B-21. We are having that solution, and they are incredibly cheap. Not cheap in quality, but cheap in price. Incredible upgrades. And whenever I talk about bringing these new online drones, the Navy a couple years ago brought out a new drone for their aircraft carrier. It was a refueler, and it went out for one set of sea trials, absolutely knocked the ball out of the house or out of the yard, knocked the ball out of the ballpark. This thing was refueling FA-18s, EA-6Bs, FA-18 growlers. It was hitting up everybody who needed to get hit up for these refuelings. It could fly really slow, low and slow, so you could get those slower movers. And it just absolutely did an incredible, fantastic job. And so what do you think happened to it? It's mysteriously gone. It hasn't been on an aircraft carrier in over 7 years. Why not? Are we taking away billets from humans to be on the aircraft carrier? Yes. I will tell you this, that using an unmanned naval aerial refueler will save money. Where? On FA-18 Hornets, whether they are the Cs, the Charlies, the Deltas, the Echoes, the Foxtrots, or the Growlers. They won't have to. There are F-18 missions out there that are playing tanker. An F-18 is not supposed to play tanker. No one kicks without tanker gas. You don't got the gas, you ain't dropping the hammer. And for me, when I've looked at some of these strike packages, which I was able to see, they weren't necessarily classified, wasn't out there. But when I see on YouTube, when I see on CBS News, F-18s with the buddy store on it, giving their buddy gas, it just makes me sad. Many of us know that F-18s can't carry that much gas anyway. What a waste. But what's causing this? The AI bubble. AI bubble will have enormous impact in the military industrial complex. And people are now starting to spread a little bit of news out there that this could pop. The AI bubble could pop. We are going out and spending all this money on new appliances, new computers, new new gadgets. They all have this AI technology embedded in it. So what happens when they decide that the AI needs to be shut off? Now those people who are building out their gardens for next year, making sure their fencing's right, buying their half a cow now, maybe a pig, maybe a couple sheep. Plan now while you got time to plan. I'm telling you. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We are off and running. I'll talk to you soon. Be right back. And we are back here on the Andrew Gosser Show, 103.9 WYAB. Interesting. Got Team Nevada checking in, Team Tupelo checking in, Team Illinois checking in. It's kind of humbling to see people not necessarily inside the 50,000 watt radio coverage area of WYAB tuning in from around the nation, at least. I'm not sure. I'm sure there is somewhere in the world, but I'm not tracking that right now. A story that came up, and I wasn't even necessarily going to go down this road today. I like touching stories and then letting them breathe to go ahead and see what matures. But the blowback from the Tucker Carlson story on Matthew Crooks is astounding. Using ground news, the left is not talking about Tucker at all. Only 9% of liberal news media outlets are talking about it. Meanwhile, on the right, 70% of all news outlets are talking about it. And how about that trusted middle? Again, that's where the show aims to please. I'm not trying to get the far left or the far right. It's all of us in the middle who have some common sense and know how to apply it. The small business owners, the blue collar crew that's out there busting butt. Man, I'll tell you what, blue collar crew has enjoyed a good run of weather over the past month. But I'm ready for some rain. I need my winter grasses to start popping up. We had that freeze last week. Winter grass is ready to go. Just need some rain. Come on, rain. Tucker Carlson accused the FBI of lying about Thomas Crooks having no online footprint after Crooks attempted to assassinate Donald Trump at a July 2024 Pennsylvania rally in Butler, grazing his ear and killing one attendee. This is all kind of stuff, and they're trying to set the tone. But I can even already see in these words they're trying to downplay what happened in Butler. They're not necessarily being foolish and idiots about it and just being so abrasive and aggravating, but they're putting it out there. The public dispute raises severe questions about transparency and investigating an attack that came within inches of killing a presidential candidate and exposed the Secret Service security failures requiring fundamental reform. I'm not even sure you want to call those Secret Service failures. That was just dereliction of duty. All those Secret Service agents should be gone. I mean, think about this. You had a woman, and look, trust me, the sweet bee and the sweet toots are better shots than me. So number one, that should scare you. Or maybe it shouldn't, but that should scare you. And I am not sitting here saying that women can't go do things that men do. But if you are going to go do women, if you're going to go do manly things, well, sister, perform. And we all saw that out of shape, not even a Social Security agent, wasn't she Bureau of Homeland Defense, pull out her weapon and couldn't holster it? Law enforcement agents, see, folks who I know listen to me, and many of you are retired, but how often did you dry fire? How often did you practice drawing your weapon and dry firing? You know, in the military, we practice that all the time. All the time. I made it a point. I was in security forces, and it was my main job was flying, breaking things, and doing stuff like that. But I was on the ground, and I was issued a couple different weapons, and I dry fired those suckers every day. Every day. Why? Because I knew, number one, that I wasn't proficient as a captain when I've got all of these E2s, E3s, and E4s, E5s in the Army that I'm running with who are subject matter experts in their abilities to do what they need to do. But this person who was guarding this internet service that was guarding, or I'm sorry, this woman who was guarding the president couldn't even holster her weapon. And now the FBI is disputing sources across the spectrum and acknowledging a public confrontation between Tucker Carlson and the FBI leadership over conflicting claims about the shooter, Matthew Thomas Crooks, online's presence, with Carlson asserting that the FBI lied while the Bureau knew about the rapid response. Well, we talked about this yesterday. If you listened to this show yesterday, we told you that very same thing. And now you have FBI rapid response on X. That's excellent. We like that. I don't necessarily agree with it, but we like that because the deep state is going to have to move. And the deep state in America has to move in a way where they're slowly taking away our rights, but where they don't make Americans too ticked off, where they truly do start going crazy. And everybody remembers the Summer of Love. I'm telling you, that's not nothing. People are asking question, did the internet shutdown impact WYAB? No, not as far as I'm concerned. Chat looks good. All the audio levels look good. We're looking all right over here, Brother Rick. Reports uniformly recognize that the July 2024 assassination attempt exposed serious security failures that led to this Secret Service leadership changes and calls for fundamental reform, while Trump narrowly escaped with only an ear graze as one rally attendee died and 2 others were injured. I'm telling you this right now, whoever, and someday this will come out. Someday this will come out. Whoever trained Thomas Crooks to shoot, they didn't do a good job. Or maybe it was just the hand of God taking care of Trump. We'll go with that. But 130 yards away. My daughter completely took out a 7-point buck at 128 yards. So I know that it was only 2 more yards. But that shot that Thomas Crooks took was not a difficult shot. Do you remember the Secret Service director saying that the reason that the snipers weren't on that one roof is because it was too steep? Do you remember that? Fellas, come on now. You know, most of these snipers who are in Secret Service, they come from the military. And I am not a sniper. I just knew a couple of them. I knew a really good one. And these snipers, after they go do their time in the military, and, you know, some snipers stick around the military for 20, 30, 40 years. Some just do their time and get out. Some just do a tour and get out. Where do they go? Places like the Secret Service. You're telling me that a Green Beret or a Army Ranger sniper who has gone to the school of schools, and if you know, you know, is going to be afraid of a 4-degree downslope on a roof? Laughable. Absolutely laughable. We've got all these DEI hires in the government right now from 2020 to 2024. They're all just sitting there laying low, praying that they don't get outed, hoping that the next administration comes in and can do that. And that's why 2026 is so important, and that's why 2028 is so important. We can severely set back the deep state. It doesn't mean that we're going to take care of all the other problems that we've got to take care of in this country. Yeah, it was 4 years of unmitigated disaster with Joe Biden, where whether it become to immigration, whether that come to food sources, and I'm speaking predominantly to my liberal friends in and around Jackson who love President Obama, or Biden. Well, you love Obama too, but I'm not arguing his personality or that. I'm arguing the decisions that he made that are impacting you in Jackson, Mississippi, and the surrounding area right now. Labor's labor is cheap. Illegal immigrants keep that down. We had that awesome caller, brother William, yesterday. Called twice during the break. Talk about, hey, there's other ways to get the community involved. I had some more time to think about that, brother William. I got to take a break, but when I get back, I want to bounce some more ideas off there. I know you're listening. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Yes, we are back at 103.9 WYAB, the Andrew Gosser Show. Number, if you want to call in, is 601-879-0002. Text line is open, 601-879-5060. I got to get to some of these texts. Brother Rick, internet's still working good, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Andrew, do you think that the Thomas Crooks situation is purposely being held back just a little bit longer to try to protect those Democrats and Republicans who actually participated with Epstein? I can't read the rest of that. Glad that you read before you actually say it, right? Long story short is I think they're trying to delay the Epstein files as long as they could, not because they were trying to get their affairs in order, or the other thing that you talked about there. Not going to say that on the radio, but it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. Because when you are doing such nasty things and you are abusing children, whether physically, sexually, doesn't matter. People don't like that. And again, it's not the people at the ends of the spectrum that I'm worried about. It's all of us in the middle. And remember, with this populism deal that we've got going on, it's not a left or right across the spectrum. It's up and down populism. On the top, you've got what some would call more conservative populism, and at the bottom, you've got more liberal Democrat populism. But that populism scale slides much quicker and much faster than anything on the left or right scale. Yep. So that's what's going on with this whole Thomas Crook thing. Clearly, so many of you are still infuriated about it. I still can't understand why they released it on a Friday. Force MSNBC, MS Now / BS Always, force CNN, force these other legacy news agencies that are going to fall by the wayside. Let's take a phone call real quick here. Let's see what happens. All right, caller, you're on the air.
My man, what's up, Mr. Gasser?
Hey, I'm hanging in there, my man. How are you doing?
Oh, not bad for an old man.
Yep.
This, not specifically the Epstein thing,
mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna tell you what, bro. There's a lot of people involved, directly, indirectly, looking the other way, dead in the middle of it. However you fit in this child trafficking. It's deep. It's deep, brother.
You've got the former Prince of England, Prince Andrew, booted out for this. There are people all around the world who partook in the Lolita Express in the island, and they need to be held to account. And I do believe, and I'll let you get back in here, but I do believe that it's not just a U.S. issue trying to stop the release of this. I think that there are foreign international people, powerful business people and government types who are like, I don't want anything to do with this, and are trying to keep it quiet. What do you think?
I think that wasn't the only island either.
Well, now that's an interesting thought. Well, go ahead and explore that a little bit. Why do you think that?
I think there's multiple locations, because you got these kids that are disappearing. You've got people, and God gracious, don't get involved with my wife on her conspiracy theories. But according to her, there are people who are supposedly still in office that are not actually, as Rush Limbaugh had said, have assumed room temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And because, they found out during the Biden administration, all you've got to do is put a video out there or put some type of piece together, some type of interview, and you can keep someone alive for an extended period of time when they're actually not dead. She's convinced Joe Biden's dead, Nancy Pelosi's dead. They're individuals that are, because it's like watching a movie. I mean, it's literally like the next episode of Days of Our Lives. They could just continue to propagate us because we believe everything we see. My father, God rest his soul, if I was standing on the corner of Gallatin and I-20, drinking a cup of coffee and eating a donut, and he's watching Bert Case on television, and Bert Case tells him there's green Martians with purple ray guns killing people, oh, he believes it. And I could tell him, Dad, I'm standing here. There's nothing going on. Oh, no. Maggie Wade said there's Martians down there. There's Martians down there. I mean, we got to where we believe all this stuff,
The conspiracy, that's just the sad part of it. The conspiracy theory moniker and tag, ended up being used by, I'm going to just say it, MK Ultra and Project Mockingbird to go ahead and mock, ridicule, and scorn people who were, whether they were looking at that or looking at the Epstein files, to make you feel bad for looking into that. And now those conspiracy theorists are all looking pretty good in hindsight. And the real test is for our representative republic, are we going to act on what's happened? And look, I'm not talking about acting violence or anything like that. I'm talking about acting to where we put these people in jail, where we clean out our government, correct government. Look, we need government. Government in and of itself isn't necessarily quote unquote evil. I'm not saying that it's good either, because there is that air in there, but there is so much doubt. And it's just not the white people or the black people or the Indian people or the Asian people. It's all of us. We have a lack of faith and confidence in the DOJ and the FBI.
But you've swerved by two things. First, I want to give a quote, and the second one, I want to talk about scripture. Ronald Reagan used to quote, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
Scariest words in government right there.
Yes, it is. And also, scripture tells us that if you hear a rumor or something about a brother, you don't repeat it. You go to him.
Yep.
You go to him and ask him. So anytime somebody says, well, this many people dead in Gaza, have you been there? Have you seen it? Have you witnessed it? Well, then I would be very careful before I start quoting, well, the news said, here we go.
Yep. I don't know too many people who have been to Gaza. I have, but that was 93 and 94. So, my trip there, yeah, I technically put my foot in Gaza. It was beautiful, but I don't think the majority of people who are supporting the pro-Palestine movement actually understand what they're supporting.
Well, I tell you, it's, I don't remember who the guy was, but he used to say, never trust nobody.
Oh, DTA, don't trust anyone.
Yeah. Never trust nobody, because that's just about the case. Never trust nobody, because it's this child trafficking thing. Woo, I think it's deep, brother. It's deep. People are going to be scrambling.
People act foolishly when they see kids being harmed, and they just go up and they put a stop to it right away. There's a child who can't defend himself, who can't take care himself, herself. We're going to say it's a boy or a girl. We're not going with any of this transgender furry nonsense. It angers people. And when they see this, just look what happened in DeSoto County with that lady, right? She got 3 years house arrest, and that situation blew up. That's a great marker for all of us to kind of look at and say, look, we want justice. We want that to happen, because if we don't fight for those things, well, we don't have a country worth fighting for if you can't fight for your kids,
Right. Well, I'm going to change gears. I'm going to let you go. I did not hear from Mr. Palmer. The runoff is December 3rd. And I'm still waiting here, because that was very interesting for him to chime in on exactly what a supervisor's job is, which is politics, as Reagan used to say, politics is all local. So
I did reach out to Mr. Palmer and his team this morning. Hopefully they'll get back in touch with us here pretty soon.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. Thank you, brother.
Yep. I appreciate the phone call, my man. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too.
We got great callers here at WYAB. We get stuff done here. We got people who are actually thinking. It's great when you got a group of people who are like-minded, not necessarily thinking all the same things, but we're like-minded in our general push of where we want this country to go. and we can back each other up. We can bring new ideas to the table, and that's what this show is about. And I can tell you, as Black Friday comes and that new computer comes, oh my God, I spent so much money. Yeah. But when that comes, we're going to be able to produce so much more content that's not necessarily geared towards those of us who are tuned in on the radio and listen every day, but tuned into Gen Z and Gen A who tune into my podcast because they're in school right now, or they want a TikTok stuff. We are going to start bringing kids like that into the studio to do interviews. Lining up two of them right now. It's fun and exciting to see these kids get that opportunity. And the truth is, these are 16 and 17-year-olds who are about to vote. Get the duct tape ready. You're going to have to make sure you're locked and loaded, ready for lunch. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Yeah, you are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. Moving and grooving. The first hour is already in the can, ladies and gentlemen. It's in the can. It goes by so quick. I've literally talked about 2 stories, and we've got awesome phone callers, people texting in from Tupelo saying that they're picking it up on the stream. I think it's absolutely great. We are slowly but surely building up this audience in and around Mississippi and around the country, quite frankly. And 2027 state rep, state senate seats, not too far away. 2028 precinct delegates, not too far away. Now is the time to start thinking about that stuff. Now is the time to start really trying to figure out what you want to do in that next, or those next 2 elections coming up. I pray that you're more active in it than you are right now. And if you're already part of the party, I hope you take more people and bring them in, because that's the only way we're going to change anything, ladies and gentlemen. That's the only way we're going to make this party stronger. That's kind of like the goal and the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show, and we will continue to do that moving forward. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show. See you in about 8 minutes. We will be right back. Yes, you are tuned in to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. Phone lines are open 601 879 0002. Text line is open. It's great. Actually, talking with Daryl Palmer on the text line right now, trying to get all that worked out. We'll see what happens. The text line is open. Brother Daryl can use it. You can use it too. 601 879 5060. Today is Tuesday, the 18th of November, 2025. Right here at the 103.9 studios in Flora, Mississippi. I almost said Flowwood again. My goodness gracious, lovable me. Here at the Cotton Exchange Plaza, right off of 49, right there, State Highway 49. We are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube. We're not worried about the internet's going down, but WYAB.com is also streaming us. If you haven't yet, please follow me on X. It's at Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. And we are here to equip the saints. You are the saints. I'm telling you what, a gentle answer turns away a lot of wrath. Gets you in that front door to actually go ahead and give a little bit more of your point of view, or dare I say, testimony. Let me tell you something to all my political friends, real quick here. I do want to build the conservative party, a more conservative Republican Party, but everything that I've learned in politics, I've kind of transferred all that door knocking experience, all of that going out and meeting people and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. I've parlayed that all into my spiritual life, and that's where I hope to. That's where I hope to influence all of you to get active in something like that. I think it'd be great. It'd be absolutely fantastic. Where to go to next? Oh, I know where to go to next. We've got a talk about the AG, the Attorney General, Lynn Fitch, having problems getting rid of all the opioid settlement money. They're starting to go to people's own personal nonprofits where they're sitting on the board. It's happening. But that's not what I want to talk about. Some good news. And this is coming from our good man Kingfish at Jackson Jambalaya. And his headline is very simple. Lynn wins. China must pay $25 billion. Long story short, U.S. District Judge Taylor McNeil ordered the People's Republic of China pay Mississippi for $25 billion for its role in developing the Wuhan virus, hoarding personal protective equipment or PPE, and fraudulently selling PPE during the pandemic. If I can just take a personal point right now and tell everybody at the Northwest Herald to go fly a kite, when I called out this Wuhan virus, this Chinese virus back in 2020, front page story, made me look like a racist, made me look like something that I wasn't. I was simply telling the truth. And now there's a $25 billion settlement behind it. I wonder if I can go talk to a couple of people that are there. They should be held to account for that. I would love that. 25, actually, it's closer to 25.1 billion. Let's call it 25.1 billion. What is what's $1,009 between friends? $29.1 billion. So we'll see if we can get that money back. Maybe we can use that money to go ahead and improve our medical system right here in Mississippi. Maybe we can go ahead, use that in our law enforcement system to get rid of some of these illegals. Maybe we build a 21st century jail where all the inmates farm. I know they're already out there farming, but we amp that program up. Maybe we start using our prisoner population to start picking up the sides of the roads and the highways. there's all sorts of stuff there, and people are. I've heard this from the party. They're like, Andy, you're too tough on Linton. If I'm too tough, Miss Linton, just tell me all the voter fraud cases you've prosecuted and all the election fraud cases that you've prosecuted, and I'd be your biggest supporter. But I can't find any of it. But she did win that one, so I think that's good. They still don't say if the Chinese own any farmland in Mississippi. You can't find that. In one of the maps I just saw, they said that China didn't, but I do believe that they actually own some of the trees, the tree land, and I know that's not necessarily farming, that's timber. I know that falls under ag. But yep. And so I am not one of these people who are staring. Everybody knows that I disagree with the lieutenant governor on a lot of occasions. How often do you hear me personally go after him and rip him? You don't. You'll hear me talk about how I'm disappointed in his map drawing skills or whatever it is, but it just it doesn't get you where you need to be. Talking about Epstein, you heard about it during the bottom of our break or top of the hour break. We kind of talked about it a little bit. It's coming closer and closer. That vote is supposed to happen this afternoon. I originally was told it wasn't going to happen till tomorrow. What are the odds that this actually passes? Something tells me that either the files aren't coming out. Even if they pass it, something's going to have to go to the Senate, and the Senate's going to screw it up and water it down, and they'll keep playing off each other. Or if it actually does pass and it does get put out, it's going to be a Thomas Crook situation where we see just a little bit of what's actually in there. And listening to Pam Bondi during the break give her report, she sounds rattled. She sounds like she's having a tough day there. With our track record in Mississippi, if we ever did get that money, we'd never see a dime of it. It would be swindled and squandered away before it had a chance to draw any interest. That's come from Brother Eric over the Rumble or the YouTube chat, which is awesome. I agree with that. That money has to be collected, and I just do not believe. I mean, what happens when the country of France finds the United States guilty of something and charges us $5 billion? Do we ever pay that money back? We do not. The bill that they're going to be voting on, this is coming from CNN Politics. I enjoy watching them squirm. They're trying to figure out, because they know who they are. They know they're crazy socialist liberals, but they also realize that they have to pay the bills. So they're trying to be more of this moderate type. And it's just, as long as you understand what CNN actually is, it's okay to use them as a news source and everything that's wrong in the world. Epstein vote. The House is gearing up to consider a bipartisan bill during the 2 p.m. Eastern vote. GOP Representatives Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene urged the House to advance the legislation as Epstein abuse survivors shared their stories. What's interesting here is that this bill that they're actually voting on is the Thomas Massie bill. So you've got President Trump, who does not like Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie in a world of hurt. He will be primaried. I believe if there's a good candidate in MTG's district, she'll be primaried too. And look, there's money to do that. And to win a congressional seat like that, $2 million, $3 million bucks. That's what it's going to cost to actually make it happen. $2 or $3 million bucks. You don't think that President Trump could come up with that money? You don't think Uncle Elon could come up with that money? I think that they could. So the barrier to entry to some of these congressional races might seem high to you and me because we're grassroots folks, but to the power players that be, they're going ahead and doing that. So that's going to be at 2 o'clock Eastern. So that's 1 o'clock. That's just going to be in another basically hour and 30, 40 minutes from now. Not bad. I'm grateful and thankful that it's coming up. And think about this. Let's sit down and have a logical thought. Think about this. Imagine if the political right would have just listened to MAGA and just did all this 4 months ago. We would be in such a stronger place. We'd be in such a better place. I'm not saying that Zorhan Mandami might have lost because there's no way he was going to lose. And speaking of Zoran, has anybody read the news? Staten Island, one of the 5 boroughs of New York, is wanting to succeed from New York City. The four other boroughs, and I should know them, but the only one that I know there's Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island, the Bronx. I know I'm forgetting one, but 4 out of the 5 boroughs are totally liberals, and Staten Island is conservative, and they're trying to get away. And they think that between the state of New York wanting to permanently make the city of New York permanently left, they're willing to get rid of Staten Island. Staten Island went for Trump like 74%. And when we look at what happened in is it St. George or Lake George in Louisiana, where they had to sue to become their own population because why? They were attached to a group of people who didn't agree with them. The value system weren't the same. It's kind of like CID. Law enforcement just wasn't the same. I'm not busting on Jackson police. I just think they need a little bit better direction than they had. And I'm in no way disparaging Hinds County Sheriff or Mayor Horn. I'm just saying that Jackson PD, and we all know it, they got their hands tied. I still haven't seen them release the cuffs on the Jackson PD to go out and do what they need to do. Maybe they don't have enough leadership at the top to go out and execute and carry out the plan of the day. But we will wait and see on that. When we get back, we will continue to discuss NBC ratings, CNN ratings, MSNBC/MS Now/BS Always ratings, because they actually had an uptick. They had an uptick, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Brother Eric said, I forgot Queens. How could I forget Queens? I'm not from New York. I admit it. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. You are locked in. Brother Junk, doesn't the DOJ have the full authority to release the files? Why is this going to Congress? It's really convoluted, Brother Junk. Appreciate you listening to us down there in southern Mississippi. WYAB Southern Command. Appreciate that. Here's the reason. Because you have different legal authorities saying you can't release the files. Some of the files are being held by a court in southern Florida saying don't release it. There's some files in New York saying don't release it. There are some files in Washington, D.C. who say don't release it. Trump, I don't even think Trump has the ability to unclassify those documents and release them. I think there's some legal hiccup there, which is why if they get a law that's passed through, it's going to force the judiciary to release it, or they're going to say no law can do that, and then we'll just cross that bridge when we get to it. It's almost like they're trying to create a constitutional crisis and try to stir up some drama. But that's why we don't have the Epstein files out there yet. It's clearly a judicial type of thing. You can go do online searches for it. Judge Block's release of the Epstein files, Southern Florida. And I know there's one out from New York as well. I just don't like online searching while I'm on the air. Hear me typing, and then I get focused on something. Can't really talk and type at the same time. It's just not my forte. Oh, we got to talk about the news. We've got to talk about it, the news, because the weekly ad ratings are in, and I'm excited for this. MSNBC, CNN, Fox, all increased ratings after the Zohran Mamdani influence. And what's really interesting is, remember the demo? I talked to you all about the demo. The kids, Generation Alpha, Generation Z, are going back to their liberal roots. They're tuning back in. They're excited. They have energy. But the sad thing is, and the article won't pull up, so I'm going from memory. The increase in the demo, which is for the week that Zohran Mamdani won election, MSNBC/MS Now/BS Always got another 10% uptick. Now they're down 60, 70% from last year, but an improvement is an improvement. It's kind of like you've got a job that pays you $25 an hour, but for you to feed your family and live, you need $45 an hour, and you just got a raise to $30. It's good. You want a raise, you want to get there, but it's not where you need to be. And the mainstream media, the cable news media, they continue to crater. There are sponsors of shows that are starting to question their investments. When you invest here at WYAB on the Andrew Gosser Show, you've got a business. I can tell you are going to get good return on investment advertising here on WYAB. With our new 50,000 watt blowtorch, we're looking at 518,000 people in the immediate listening area, and then you put on our online reach as well. You're reaching a significant part of the state of Mississippi, at least a quarter of it. And honestly, that number with the radio signal, 518, that's just 100% perfect. Those of us grew up know the signal goes out a lot farther than that, but we want to make sure that we give that disclaimer out there that We know for sure 518,000 people. How great is that? Fox News, while gaining in the demo, did not gain nearly as much as CNN or MSNBC, those two cable news networks that obviously lean more to the left. Again, I tell you, people want to beat up on these young whippersnappers. They're getting angrier and angrier because they can't get a 30-year mortgage. They've got to get a 50-year mortgage. And anybody here who knows the time value money and the most powerful force in the universe as far as finance is concerned is the power of compound interest. Am I right? Compound interest gets you. I'll tell you what, I don't even like 30-year loans. We have 15-year loan on our place. Is it more expensive? Yeah, but it gets you out of debt and it gives you an asset, something that you can pass on to your kids if they want a farm, if they want that, or they can sell it and hopefully with the real estate taxes and you've done some investment planning and whatnot, you can shelter that from Uncle Sam and give a good nest egg passed on to your kids, grandkids, whoever it is that you decide to do. But it's good to see. It is good to see that even in the heights of what's going on, and let's make no mistake about it, these special elections, Republicans did not perform well. But the Democrats still can't get the ratings that they want to get. How wonderful. I'm excited for that. People are anxiously monitoring Trump. I'm sitting here watching it right now as Trump greets the Saudi crown prince at the White House. It'll be interesting to see if they ask President Trump any Epstein questions in front of the Saudi crown prince. Segue. The Saudi Arabian Air Force wants F-35s. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't even like it that we gave F-35s to Israel. I don't mind that Australia's bought F-35s or some of these other nations, our allies, have bought F-35s. That's great. But when you sell something as advanced and as powerful, I mean, the F-35, there's a joke, everybody calls it Fat Amy. That's just the nickname for the F-35. And it's not the most sexy jet. I mean, it's not like an F-22 or a F-14. F-14 is just the sexiest thing out there. That's a good-looking airplane. But it's all of the stuff on the inside of the F-35. All the beeps and squeaks, all the magical buttons and knobs. Just push that and off you go. It's really a special aircraft now that it's here. And that's what the Saudis are going to push for. It'll be interesting to see how President Trump reacts to that. We can all say beyond a shadow of a doubt that President Trump has definitely moved during his second administration, not just to try to strengthen his ties with Israel, but also with the Arabs, whether that be the Saudis, the Kuwaitis, the United people in the United Arab Emirates, or Qatar. He's even reached out a little bit to Pakistan to try to tamp down the problems between Pakistan and India. He's out there. Our technology that we're giving away, like the F-15E or QAs that we gave to Qatar, the F-15 SAs that what we didn't give, we sold to the Saudis. Those are all great airplanes, but those are 4th or 4.5 generation 4.5. They're great missile trucks. They do the job. But in those first few days of the war, those are the airplanes that you just want way far away, that they're not going to get bombed. so that the threat environment can go away, so that they can go in and execute and prosecute targets without the threat of getting smoked by a surface to air missile. There's lots more going on. Mandami, I will arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he comes to New York City. International law, we kind of talked about that, but now that he's actually going out there and saying, hey, Benjamin Netanyahu, you can't come to the United States. It'll be great to see how that all works out. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Yeah, welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show. I'm sitting there jamming out. I'm like, oh, I better turn on the microphone and get going here. Here's some news that it is truly alarming, and I don't see a lot of American news sites picking this up. I'm sadly getting this from outside of the United States, but it's talking about inside of the United States. This is coming from the Daily Mail. Housing alarm as half of all U.S. homes fall in value. Biggest drop since the Great Recession. Not the Great Depression, the Great Recession. New data from Zillow shows that 53% of U.S. homes have lost value over the past year, the highest level since 2012, when the housing crash finally hit bottom. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a buyer's market here pretty soon. Whether or not you can get the loan to actually buy the home, that's another story. Home values fall might be a way to go find a deal. Those of us who have saved up our shekels and nickels might be able to go and have a deal there. I'd like to think that we could. The national market looks flat on paper, but the average masks a huge difference between regions, cities, and even neighborhoods. Well, duh. I would argue to say that blue states are a little bit worse off than red states. That being said, we all know from that article we read earlier or late last week, Florida was in trouble. Florida was in trouble. And then they come. I love how they have these interactive maps where you can take the mouse button and scroll over and look at it. Listen to this. Orlando, 85% of homes have lost value. Jacksonville, 83% of homes have lost value. Tampa Bay, 85% of homes have lost value. Austin, Texas, 89% of homes have lost value. Dallas, Texas, 87%. Denver, 91. Las Vegas, 81. Phoenix, 87. San Fran, 83. Only 83 in San Fran? That seems kind of low to me. Portland, 81. I didn't forget anybody. Truth of the matter here is that homes are losing value. Does this happen in the past? All the time. As severe as this? No, not so much. So we're in a little bit of a pickle. In that there's really not too much you can do about it personally, other than make sure you pay your mortgage and that you bet on the United States. We've been here for 250 years. Hopefully, we're around another 250. If you're believing on us, that the housing market will bounce back, but it's not going to be as quick as some people like. My daughter was listening to me talk to some friends on speaker about the microwave generation, and she just inserted herself in. Yeah, that's kind of how we are. When we want it, we want it. And she goes on to talk about, and this isn't bad. You know, she is leveraging the tools that have been afforded to her to go out and execute the things she wants to do. If she wants to go clothes shopping, she's got her favorite website. She can go pick some stuff out. It can show up to the house. If it fits, great, keep it. If not, return it. Does she enjoy going out to some of the places, shopping centers around Madison and Brandon? Absolutely. Pearl Outlet Malls? Absolutely. But she looks at the housing market. She's 17. She looks at the economy and is trying to figure out how she can do so much as far as going out and shopping and doing all these little things. But when it comes to the housing market, she's learning. I'm pretty grateful and thankful she's figuring it out at 17. There's some people who are 40, 50, 60 years old who haven't figured this out yet. And of course, I can't even find this on Ground News, which is kind of frightening in and of itself. I would like to see how the reporting Is this more of a left-leaning report or a right-leaning report? It doesn't say, unfortunately. That's too bad. That's too bad. But getting back to it, talking to people about um, sorry about that coughing fit right there. Just talking about the housing market, it is difficult. It is difficult in these times when our value of our property is going through the ground, and it's coming, and perhaps there's going to be a lot more. This will be probably the next big attack from the left, is they'll start saying, "Oh, the economy's poor." There is at some point that we had to market correct for everything that's happened between 2020 and 2024. And President Trump has done a lot of great things to help the market, whether that be tariffs, whether that be tax policy, spending policy, foreign policy, fixing illegal immigration. But but if you think for 1 minute that this is just going to be fixed in an instant, um, we are sadly mistaken. That's not going to be what happens there. People are sending me this story. Unknown texter, thank you. Exclusive. Katie Couric rips into former. Whoop, ad popped up. Katie Couric rips into former Today Show colleagues. Admits she froze out female rivals to protect her turf. Says her toy boy ex was a midlife crisis and takes pot shots at Prince Harry, who stank of alcohol in her new memoir. Katie Couric has completely come out against Epstein, and she just goes on this rant. But the main thing that she talks about in her new book is how Epstein has been completely pushed to the side by the libs until all of a sudden it's important to her. And we used to all watch Katie Couric, whether it was on the evening news or she was doing their morning thing. When I didn't know any better, I thought it was nice to watch her. But man, she went after Deborah Norville. She was originally from Chicago. Couric put the kibosh on her. Even the royal family end up on Couric's sites as she describes how Prince Harry stank of cigarettes and alcohol when they met, and how Prince Andrew cozied up to Jeffrey Epstein in a bizarre dinner at his New York mansion. Even the left knows where the bodies are buried, ladies and gentlemen. Even the left knows where the bodies are buried. And people want to go out and buy her book. I won't go out and buy her book, but I will read the top or the pull points from her story there, because when you have people like Katie Couric coming out against this Epstein stuff, I mean, you just have way too many people across the spectrum from far left to far right, and all of us in the middle who want to see closure to this. And the truth is when the closure actually starts to come and we start finding out a lot of this bad stuff, there's going to be a lot of pain. There's going to be just a lot of discussion. And it's going to take, I mean, what happens if they bring charges up against some Hillary or Bill Clinton or President Obama or any number of Republicans? Fill in there. I know that I've read where I've seen mainstream news media people say that Obama and the Clintons were tied to Epstein. Of course, they're trying to say Trump is, but it'll be good to see those people out there and then let them explain their actions and why did they go out there and do the things that they did. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show. We're going to have a little bit longer of a last segment. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9. We will be right back.
But the truth is, the biggest proponents of this discharge petition were never actually interested in transparency or ensuring justice or protecting victims of this unspeakable tragedy, the Epstein evils. And how do we know that? Because the Democrats had every one of the Epstein files in their possession for the 4 long years of the Biden administration. The Biden Department of Justice had the files the entire time. And not a single one of the people who are so loud and animated right now, they never said anything about it for all those 4 years. None of them held press conferences. None of them demanded the release of the documents. And under Biden's DOJ, when they prosecuted just Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, not a single one of these Democrats or any of the proponents of the discharge ever made any noise about that at all. But the truth is, the biggest proponents of this discharge petition were never actually interested in transparency or ensuring justice or protecting victims of this unspeakable tragedy, the Epstein evils. And how do we know that? Because the Democrats had, but the truth is,
And Brett, this just breaking right now, the Secretary of State and the State Department are announcing that they have revoked 80,000 visas, American visas, in the year 2025. So far, we get a partial breakdown of those. I will read a couple to you. 16,000 visas revoked for DUI. 12,000 visas revoked for assault and 8,000 for theft. We also know about 8,000 student visas for foreign students studying here in the United States have been revoked. We're going to get you the full breakdown on those numbers, but there you have it for now.
Yeah, let's go right here on the Andrew Gosser Show. I know we're in our last segment, and we've got a lot of stuff to smash in there. 3, 2, 1, here we go.
And Brett, this just breaking right now, the Secretary of State and the State Department are announcing that they have revoked 80,000 visas, American visas, in the year 2025. So far, we get a partial breakdown of those. I will read a couple to you. 16,000 visas revoked for DUI. 12,000 visas revoked for assault and 8,000 for theft. We also know about 8,000 student visas for foreign students studying here in the United States have been revoked. We're going to get you the full breakdown on those numbers.
How much money would it cost to keep these illegal aliens who are committing these heinous crimes in jail? Whether that be the penitentiary cost, the medical cost, all the other the court costs that go into, just these people here are leeching our resources. They need to go. And everybody's complaining about Donald Trump right now. I'm not complaining about it. I don't agree with it, but he's done a good job. His State Department did this. We voted for that. We were talking about seeing the forest through the trees the other day. Some of us aren't seeing the forest or the trees. They're just blinded by anger. You can't do that. It's not going to work out well for us. And maybe that goes back to the conversation I had with Clay, where he definitely hits like a sledgehammer. I'm a little bit more, hey, how can we get more people to agree with us to go out there and do that? Good show today. Text coming in. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Just sitting here looking at this, and I can tell you that this Epstein thing has got even the Speaker of the House fired up.
But the truth is, the biggest proponents of this discharge petition were never actually interested in transparency or ensuring justice or protecting victims of this unspeakable tragedy, the Epstein evils. And how do we know that? Because the Democrats had every one of the Epstein files in their possession for the 4 long years of the Biden administration.
Think about that. They've had this in their hip pocket for 4 years. They know what's there. The question we got to ask, are the Democrats smart enough to make it look like the Epstein files doesn't have anything from Trump in there, knowing that it does, and then just waiting for the right minute to spring the trap? I don't know.
The Biden Department of Justice had the files the entire time. And not a single one of the people who are so loud and animated right now, they never said anything about it for all those 4 years. None of them held press conferences. None of them demanded the release of the documents. And under Biden's DOJ, when they prosecuted just Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, not a single one of these Democrats or any of the proponents of the discharge ever made any noise about that at all.
And it just goes to show you that even though President Trump continues to say that this Epstein story is a fraud and a hoax, and he might have certain elements of that, it needs to come out. We need healing. We need disinfectant from there. Texter calls in, Andy, you talked about the mosques opening up in Dallas-Fort Worth area. Can you share that? Yeah, if you go to andrewgasser.com or Andrew Gasser on X, AndrewGasser, you'll see it right there. And it's important. Just another way where we are all talking about each other or talking about different issues for us to communicate there. And if you tag me in a post, I'll definitely read it. I should do a better job at responding and just saying thank you. I'll try to put that into my repertoire. We'll get there. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a special. We've got a special edition of the Sweet Bee Power segment. As many of you know, last week, Sweet Bee went down to Honduras on another missions trip. She's absolutely killing it, going out there and working. And she does a lot of stuff. So something that I try to do, fellas, and that you can do is you can go to a spa, a women's spa, and get them a day package. You can even make it a couples package. And yes, the Sweet Bee and Sponge Show will be gallivanting into the sunset this evening as we go to an undisclosed, nice spa and get a couples massage. She's going to get her nails done. She's going to get her hair done. She's going to have a great time. Spend quality time with our spouses. We got to do that, men. We got to do that. And if it means you going to get the cucumbers on the ice, go get the cucumbers on the ice. Hang out with your better half. You will find out you have so much more in common, and she will love you for it. So we'll see you all in about 22 hours, everybody. Take care, everyone. Be blessed.